everyone, welcome to the second video for the lesson plants form. Hello everyone, welcome to the second video for the lesson plants form and function. So in the previous video we have discussed about the types of root system, the shoot system and the root system, their functions, and we have also discussed how the type of venation of leaves, the root system, and whether the seed is a dicot or a monocot is linked. So in this video, we are going to look into the modifications of the root and shoot, as well as the structure of the stem and the root. So the modifications of the roots, we have already seen the types of root systems, that is taproot system and the fibrous root system. Let's take a look at this picture. What do you see here? You can see the tops of certain vegetables like carrot, beetroot, radish, and you can see that when placed in water, the root is, when placed in water, slowly over time, it develops these thin stems and leaves of the original plant. So furthermore, if you're going to take this and plant it in soil, it's going to regenerate, or it's going to grow into a complete plant of the same type and produce more carrots, more beetroot, more radish, and so on. So we understand that certain types of roots, especially tap roots, are important for food storage as well as reproduction in plants. What do you see here? You see a banyan tree. A banyan tree, as you can see, has some structures which arise from their branches and they grow towards the ground, right? What are these? Are they branches? No, they are roots, better known as prop roots. Prop roots provide support to the banyan tree branches. This allows the banyan tree to spread over miles and miles by developing prop roots to support the weight of the branches as they spread out. Go search about the great banyan tree in Kolkata and see how wide it is. Now let's take a look at the next. So we can conclude that in some plants, the roots are modified for providing support, that is the prop roots in banyan trees, and in some plants like sugarcane, corn plant, there are roots which develop from the base of the stem and grow towards the soil like this. So here in these plants, the roots are called not as prop roots but as stilt roots. That is the difference between prop roots and stilt roots. Take a look at this. Take a look at this plant over here. It has sent its stem, very thin, fragile stem, around the leaves. Take a look at this plant over here. It has stem. Take a look at this plant over here. It has sent its very thin, light green stems around the leaves of a host plant on which it lives, and it has sent its roots into the leaves of the host plant. Why? This is because this plant is otherwise known as the dodder plant, is a parasitic plant. Now, what are parasites? Parasites are those organisms, living organisms, which cannot produce their own food and they do not eat like other organisms either, but they live on a host and they suck the nutrition out of the host. So the dodder plant is a parasitic plant because it sends its parasitic roots into the leaves of the host plant and drains the nutrition from the host plant. So eventually the host plant will become less healthy, but it will not completely die. And the parasitic plant will continue to grow on the host plant. Another type of modification of the roots is the epiphytic root or the aerial roots. What are epiphytes? Orchids are plants which produce beautiful flowers which are used in bouquets. You must have seen them. And they have certain types of roots which are sent into the air. They are called as aerial roots. So aerial roots are a characteristic feature of epiphytes. Example of an epiphyte is the orchid. So what is the advantage of this modification where the roots are sent into the air? Well, this allows the plant to not to be this allows a plant to have more options than growing in the soil. It allows a plant to grow on the branches of other trees, and the roots are sent out into the air to look for better places to hold on to, for better nutrition, and it sucks the nutrition and water from the air. So aerial roots are found in epiphytes, and are epiphytes the same as parasites? No, because they do not harm the host plant. They do not take nutrition out of the host plant. They just live on the host plant. I hope you understand the difference. Certain roots are also modified for climbing to provide the support for the plant. So you have already learned about climbers like money plant. Now take a look at this money plant. You can see how. Now take a look at this money plant and this plant over here, which is actually a cucumber plant. You can appreciate the visual difference in the extensions that come from the stems, which are small and they are thick, and they help the money plant to hold on to the surface by gripping into the tiny pores on the surface. Whereas over here, you can see that there are some extensions which twine into a spring-like structure, looking for places to hold on to and grow into, in the case of climbers such as cucumber plants. So these extensions, the long ones, they're called as tendrils, where I hope you understand the difference. Now let's learn about the structure of the stem. We've seen in the first video, this it is according to the size of the stem and the thickness of the stem that we have classified plants into trees, shrubs, herbs, right? So the stem is also called as a shoot, and the shoot system is that part of the plant which is going to bear all the other structures such as the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, etc. Leaves and buds, do they grow anywhere on the stem? No, they grow at only certain intervals at certain places from certain buds, which are called as nodes. So as you can see, there is a certain distance between each node, and the distance between each node is called as an internode. The leaves will develop from the thinner shoots only from the nodes, and the branches will develop from the main stem only from the nodes. So the internode is the distance between two nodes. Let's take a look at what stem modifications we can find in plants. So plants have been modified to store food in, and we consume many of them. Example is a potato. The potato is an example of a tuber. What is a tuber? It is a kind of underground stem which has become swollen because it contains so much of starch packed in it, stored in it. On the potato plant, you can see certain eyes and buds, which you know, if you cut out and you sow it in the soil, it's going to grow into another potato plant. Each eye or bud can grow into another potato plant. So, as we have just learned about the structure of the stem, can you guess what these eyes or buds really are? Yes, they are actually the nodes of the stem, right? And that is why they are capable of producing new branches and small roots from those eyes and buds when the conditions are right. Um, Another example of stem modification where the stem is modified to store food is the rhizomes. What is the difference between the tuber and the rhizomes? See, in rhizomes, the plant or the stem, it actually spreads out laterally, that is sideways, and it has these finger-like projections. If you see a piece of ginger, it will have certain lines on it. Those lines are actually the nodes, and the region between them is the internode. If you uh, if you cut out a finger of the ginger and then you plant it in the soil, it will grow into a ginger plant. Each one is capable of growing into a ginger plant. And sometimes you can see small buds, small stems also arising from these nodes. So that is what rhizomes are. Another example of rhizome is the turmeric type of stem modification, which you're going to talk about, is the bulbs. So what are bulbs? Best example of bulb is the onion and garlic, where the stem is reduced to form a disc-like structure at the base. So if you see, if you look at onion or garlic, the part of the onion or garlic which we consume is actually the fleshy leaf in which food is stored. Then why do we learn about it under stem modification? Because the stem of these plants where the food is stored is reduced to form a disc. It's reduced to form a disc. So when we cut an onion, the white part of it at the base from where the roots come out, that part is actually the modified stem. It's actually a reduced stem. It is reduced to form a disc. It is not the typical long stem, and that is why we learn it under stem modification also. Another example is the example of garlic, where it forms these fleshy garlic bulbs, and there also you can see the reduced stem. Now we have another structure also over here, that is the corm. So what is a corm? What the corm is actually another kind of bulb. The difference between a bulb and a corm is that the corm does not have the fleshy leaves, okay, or the fleshy or the scaly leaves, layers and layers of leaves, or individual bulbs, as we can see in the true bulbs like onion or garlic. But in the corm, the stem is kind of elongated, and around it, it is full of starch. Just like in a potato, it is full of starch. So if you cut it, you can see the white part, a slight whitish part of the stem in a conical structure in the middle, and around it, it looks like a potato full of starch. But you cannot find the scaly leaves, and that is the difference between the corm and the bulb. So the corm is also another kind of stem modification, where the stem is reduced and around the stem the food is stored. Okay, now let's take a look at the stem modification about which we saw earlier also. So in climbers such as cucumber and bitter gourd, which require a support and they have to keep extending, which require a support to grow, you can see spring-like extensions like this from the nodes of the stem. So what are these extensions? They are actually modifications of the stem from the node these extensions come. So they are modifications of the stem. These extensions are called as tendrils. They're called as tendrils. And tendrils are extended to give extra support. There is Now let's take a look at another modification of the stem. That is the modification which allows the stem to propagate itself, or reproduce more of its same kind through the stem. So propagation, multiplication, or reproduction, all words which mean the same thing, that produce more of the same kind. So the stem cuttings, if it includes a nodal region, the nodal region of a sugarcane would be the lines that you can see, the ring-like lines that you can see around the sugarcane stem. As long as the cutting includes the nodes, if you sow it in the soil, if the conditions are right, the roots and the leaves can develop from it. But if you're going to cut it at the nodes, then it will not develop. Now let's take a look at the modification of the stem, where the stem stores food. So this vegetable called as the asparagus is not very common here in India, but it is a kind of photosynthetic stem which stores food, and there are many parts of the world people use this as a vegetable. And the stem is also modified to store food in plants such as the cacti and the stepilia, about the picture of which you will see next. So in these plants, as you may be aware, the stem becomes swollen. The stem is green because it has chlorophyll and it is photosynthetic. That is, it can prepare its food, and it can store water and the food that is prepared for a long period of time. It does not lose water because the leaves become reduced. The spines that you see on the cacti, they are actually the leaves. And the swollen part, which looks like the leaf, is actually the stem. Stems also have certain modifications to protect the plant against any animals that might want to come and eat it. For example, the cacti has a spines, which is actually the reduced leaves. It protects the cacti from desert animals, which obviously know that the cacti is nice and juicy, but they will not be encouraged to eat the cacti because of the spines. The spines, no animal would want those spines poking into their mouths, right? Similarly, you know that the rose plant also protects itself because of the thorny bush that it has, the thorny branches that it has. This is Stapelia. Stapelia also, you can see it has these spines on the stem, and it has this beautiful flower. Yeah, because of its flower, it's a coveted um, plant for the home gardener. Now let's think and answer this question. So how does the food prepared in the leaves, because you know the leaves are the kitchen of the plant, how does it reach the underground stem or root for storage? How does it get there? Okay, you can now pause the video and think about it. So the stem, as you know, carries water as well as minerals from the roots to the other parts, the upper parts of the plant. The stem also carries the food that is prepared in the leaves to all the parts of the plant. So it is through the stem that the food that is produced in the leaves, the excessive food that is produced in the leaves during the good season, is then transported through the stem, and it is stored in the underground stem or in the underground taproot system for bad times by the plant. I'll see you again in the next video where we will be learning about the leaf modifications and other important processes in the leaf. So until then, bye bye and keep learning.